Hello everyone, Sean here, and I hope everyone has been doing well. The year of 2021 has just begun, and now we can look back on 2020, which was a very tough year for everyone around the world. 2020 was a tough year for everyone around the world, one way or the other, and a little tougher than some others in some cases. There were plenty of shocking events, including the deaths of icons such as Kobe Bryant and Chadwick Boseman, aka T'Challa, aka Black Panther. Um, Not to mention, Kobe Bryant and his daughter, his daughter that was thought to be pretty much the successor, spiritual successor of Kobe Bryant in terms of basketball. That was a very tragic loss on that day, which was January, I believe. There are other events that can be looked at as historical. This will be looked at as a historical event, particularly with the Black Lives Matter movement. All the protesting and everything around it, the riots and all that. The whole thing was quite the eye opener for for everyone. Pretty much, it even affected around the world because they were taking part of the protest, which is actually really something, and I mean, I hope to see things from all this. I don't want to see this just being in vain. There were plenty of people who died from that, and many others hurt, and many others devastated by it. And then when it comes to even the gaming side of things, of course, there are a lot of events canceled. A lot of things came to light, including the FGC, with the whole allegations, all that. Someone from the Evo side of things came out and admitted to these allegations. One of the people who ran Evo for a very long time, who founded Evo in the first place, I believe, and now he's gone. This man has been the face of Evo for a very long time, and he's gone. Who knows what would become of the branding of Evo at this point? Even with the quarantine and all the lockdown, the pandemic, well away. Who knows what would become of that? I hope to see good things from it. I would like to see it continue, but if something came out of the ashes of Evo that is just as good, online or offline, I'm all for it. Of course, as I mentioned with the pandemic, this was dominated by the virus that is the COVID-19 or coronavirus. It put us all into lockdown pretty much for a very long time. We're still in lockdown now. There was a point where it kind of opened back up again. It seemed like things were starting to wane down a little bit, but I felt like we didn't do enough to get through it. And now we're back into it. Although yes, the vaccine is out, but it's still a long battle to be won. So we're still well in it. Still gotta wear a mask, keep your distance, and be careful. Wash your hands. Do whatever you can to be not affected by the virus. And of course, as we all stay inside, this was a year for video games. Games like Animal Crossing came out. It really highlighted that. And of course, this was the year of streamers and such as well. Everyone who have the luxury of working at home, you know, can flourish from it. It's something they can take advantage of. So it's a year of being lucky or not lucky, especially here. And definitely these streamers and content creators kind of had it easy in comparison to many other job occupations. Of course, there are the essential job or essential workplaces that are still working through it. Including my other job. The Amazon warehouse, still going through it, and my heart goes out to them and to the workers. I mean, management, that's a whole nother story, but won't get into that. But regardless, at least I have a taste of that, of working at home, thanks to my job opportunity with Panda Global. I work with them, technically not with or for them. It's a little different if you want to be very technical, because I hadn't signed any contract. But I work with them regardless. I do stuff with them regardless. It's been a great experience so far. I do really like it. I can, do whatever I love doing, and it's a job. It pays, and it's helping me getting through this situation. So hopefully this will be the main focus in the future, maybe this year, but we'll see about that, depending on how things play out. And as I said before, this year was all pretty much thanks to the coronavirus. A lot of doors have opened. A lot of minds have been opened as well. A lot of revelations were to be had. Thinking about things for the future differently now, thanks to the coronavirus. We have all the time to kind of stay inside and think about things. The lifestyle is so much different right now, especially with school. Kids have to stay inside, stay online for classes now. College is somewhat different because they've already been doing it. There's some online classes. There's been, of course, in person as well, but now it's all online, of course, for right now. But for college, this isn't entirely new. But when it comes to elementary and high school and all that stuff, this is all online, which I could not imagine how I would feel about that. How I would. My younger self would deal with that, and there's of course no dances, no like typical high school events. I could not imagine how I would feel or deal with that. I do feel lucky on that part, but more on the serious side of things, though, the coronavirus has taken so much away from us. Not only, our daily routines, but those we loved. It's tough to say the least. There are over 300,000 lives lost to this virus during this pandemic, and my father was one of them. My dad, my old man, was one of them. My dad passed away on New Year's Eve due to the coronavirus, and he was 68 years old. Before then, it was just the night before, we just got the call that we were just informed out of nowhere that he was hospitalized at a nearby hospital. Of course, we couldn't visit him because of, the pandemic, of course, quarantine policies and all that stuff. Um, so we, at the time we just got we were just informed that, hey, we're going to use the respirator and stuff like that. They didn't say he was, or at least I wasn't informed that he was, um, in a very bad state or anything like that. It was just so sudden. That might have been the case for the doctors too. It might have been just so sudden. The last thing I've heard about my dad was that he's just being himself. As soon as the machines were on, I guess, or the respirator, excuse me, he kind of just said, I should be fine now, or something like that. That's what the doctor told us at the time. So to me, he just seemed like himself. That's what he would say. That's definitely him. But then then the next day, I woke up to the news about my dad passing. It was tough. It was shocking, to say the least. I just couldn't believe it. And of course, I still don't believe it, but to some extent. But I've, at this point, have started to accept the situation of things. The first few days was very painful. Honestly, it was very depressing. Now, I mean, I didn't cry or anything like that, but I was just so low energy. Like, I would not be able to make stuff, and it was a big hurdle to get over. And now, I'm starting to feel better. I'm okay. But this is my dad, one of my parents, and it's just shocking because now everyone from my dad's side is no longer here. My aunt, grandfather, grandmother, and now my old man. So it was again hard to think about. It was difficult to kind of cope with that fact. One of the sad things is that I never got to see him. I never got to say goodbye to him because of coronavirus. This has taken so many lives, and now my dad is one of them. For those who faced the same situation, I can now sympathize with you guys, and I'm so sorry if you've all suffered through this same pain. And I know how that feels like now, unfortunately. And of course, my heart still goes out to all the doctors and nurses who are still battling through this pandemic. It is so tough right now. A lot of hospitals are being filled to the brim, and, especially here in downtown LA alone. Well, I don't live in downtown LA, but I live around it, and LA in general is it's chaos, man, when it comes to the hospital side of things. It's definitely still shocking to think about that my dad went out like this. He deserves so much better. I kind of want to take this a different direction. While yes, this is something that will stick with me for a very long time, this pain, definitely the memory will live on forever until my time. and everyone else is around me, you know. Um, but I do want to bring up, you know, the life and times of me and my dad. Um, and I'm gonna be, you know, a little open about it, but not too detailed about it, because it will all make sense by the end of it. Um, it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine between my family and my dad, because you know my dad was a complicated guy. You know, it was complicated between us and my dad, my mom, my sister. You know, my dad was he had the worst luck of things. He was a man of bad luck, unfortunately. He was riddled with a lot of mental health issues, um, bipolar, depression, and many other things. It was very complicated, and so you know, he had to take or keep up with a lot of medication and all that stuff. And whenever he missed those medications, uh, those times were pretty rough. It was tough. You know, recurring word, but that's what it was. And those times, you know, they definitely were hard, you know, and but however, through all that rubble was a person that wanted to be a great father, and I guess be a role model, you know, to me and my sister. And I definitely believe that. I knew he was a good person with a lot on his shoulders, and he just did his best to be the father he could have been, a good father that he could have been. And to this very day, I still love him and have massive respect for him. He was a man of passion, as I am with whatever I'm passionate with, which happens to be like video editing and video games and all that stuff, movies and whatever. But for the most part, being a video editor, making videos. And my dad was a musician. He was so passionate about music. He even got a recording done back in the day with a full album. It's somewhere on YouTube, so I'll actually leave that in the comment section below or in the description if you guys want to check that out. It's actually pretty legit music too. He was good. Of course he had a band and a number of people to make it all work. My dad just wanted to just be a well-known musician, but again, unfortunately, that didn't really come true fully. I think he might have been popular at some point somewhere in Japan, but that was very short-lived, to say the least. But no less, though, it doesn't take away from his talent, and he was a man of great talent. That's what I can say, definitely. Wholeheartedly. So he was definitely a man of passion. He always loved fishing too. Me and my dad always went to fishing a whole lot back in the day, as much as we could. Those times I do miss, because that was definitely the time when I see the good person in him. I felt like he was his true self every time he was able to go fishing, have a good time. But then when the mental health issues took over, it became different, let's just say. But thankfully, we did a lot of fishing, so I got to see a lot of good times from my dad, and I will never forget those experiences. I don't know what I would do to see them again, but that's what makes it special, I guess. But as time went on, things were complicated, and then, as I said before, as a man of bad luck, he was very prone to accidents, even when he was younger. But then this one was life-changing, in many ways. Once again, we went on a fishing trip to the beach near my house, and this was, I believe, 2004 or 5. I think right at the beginning of 2005, January, so right around my birthday. I think when I hit 15 years old, I believe. And this was like right at the beginning of high school. We were on one of our fishing trips. It was dark. It was getting close to night, and we were walking on top of these big rocks, and I don't know how my dad would be able to walk through that when he was younger, but it should have came with no surprise at the age that he was. He would slip at some point. And he did. And he took a big fall. Pretty big fall. And he hit his head on one of the rocks. That's the most blood I've seen on my dad's face. And he cut his ear. Thankfully, that's where it came from, the blood from his ear, not from inside his ear, but there was he cut his ear, like a big chunk somehow came off his ear, and that's where the most of the blood came from, thankfully. But with that said, he suffered at least some sort of concussion, and his brain was affected in some way, and so his memory started to be very shaky, and that he was in a hospital for a couple weeks, and that was the time when pretty much he never set foot in our home again, because I think it was time that he had proper treatment with his mental health. And so my mom had him put into a nursery home from that point on. Many nursery homes throughout time, and ever since then he never set foot in our home, unfortunately. Again, because of his mental health issues. So I never got to see him at home ever again. I did visit him whenever I could with my sister. And then sometimes with the entire family. Myself, my mom, my sister, and there were times it was difficult to talk to him because his emotions were just so rattled, and that was, an ongoing issue at times, and so those times it was hard to talk to him. It was hard. It was very difficult. And then, um, uh, and then things got a little better, um, at some point, and I had Thanksgiving with him, with his family, um, his aunt and my uncle, cousins, and stuff like that. Uh, and those were good times. And then things got a little complicated between my dad and his family, unfortunately. Um, Not gonna go into too much detail, of course, but things got complicated. But then, out of nowhere, and I didn't even know about this till then. My aunt had breast cancer of sorts. Um, sometime after my grandfather from my dad's side passed away. Um, she then passed away after many years of breast cancer, I think, or at least a good amount of years. I didn't even know about that until the time she passed away, or I was informed she was passed away. Um, this part is probably a story of its own, but briefly, um, her funeral I think was like uh, earlier than we thought. So we were planning to go to Japan, right? But because the funeral was at a different date now, we had to change our date to go to Japan, and we had to go visit my grandfather from my mom's side, and he started to get really really old, so he was bedridden at that point, and it was definitely time for us to go visit him. I visited him, um, but I didn't think it would be the last time I see him. But lo and behold, when we got off the flight, once we hit back to California, my sister, who stayed behind a little bit at the time, told me that my grandfather passed away from my mom's side. I believe this was like 2 or 3 years ago, and that was definitely another shocker. And then we had the funeral with my aunt, right? And that was pretty much, my last time I saw my dad and talked to him and stuff. We had a long talk too. We had a lot of things to say about that whole situation. But then after that was all done, I really thought that my aunt was saying some sort of message that, hey, your grandfather's gonna go, his time is up almost, so you should go visit him now. In a way, it's like a weird coincidence, but it was definitely something to think about. But anyway, this was the last time I actually got to see my dad, which is why we're here. Why we led to here, So that was the last time I saw him, and then I just didn't get any chances to talk to him, especially during the pandemic. That itself was hard to think about, because I wished to have visited him when this was all over, but the coronavirus took him, unfortunately, and I just felt bad that I just couldn't take out of my time to go visit him. And I've talked to my friends, my family, and including my of course my sister and my cousin about this, and we all know it's not our fault for not seeing him that often. no one would have seen all this coming. No one saw this coronavirus coming. You know, who did? You know what I mean? But point being, none of us did, and that was another difficult thing to take in. My sister has told me that my dad, all he cared about was whether I was okay, and he understands that I wasn't there to see him all the time because I was busy with my business and all that stuff, my passion and all that. But it still makes me think that I wished I got to see him more often. But my dad, all he cared about was whether I was okay. I think, with that, my dad was okay with me as long as I was doing something with my life with passion, as he did in the past. And like I said, getting through it was very tough. I had low energy and stuff like that, but I'm starting to get better now. I'm starting to sort of accept the situation. But, I've come to realize that no matter how long I wait, while this break was pretty nice, in a way, take my time to kind of relax, think about things, remember my dad for what he was, and it was definitely needed. And now that I've started to accept the situation of things, I thought about something, and that is, no matter how long I wait, people send me their condolences and they tell me, take all the time you need. Someone said I should take like a month off, and at this point, no matter how long I wait, this pain, this feeling is still going to be around for a very long time. And like I said, the memory, of course, will still be there. But so with that, this pain will be something to not hold me back, but rather something to push me forward. It's something I want to think about as a way to get me going, in a way, if that makes sense. And I think that's something my dad would want. While yes, the pain of losing others is terrible, at some point we gotta, pick ourselves back up and keep on moving forward. That's definitely what my dad would want. And I think I know that because, my dad would want me to keep be passionate about the things I do. That was something he said in our conversations that we had. And, he was a man of passion himself, so he definitely sees that in me. And so he would want me to keep going forward at this point. So with that in mind, well, I'm back for the most part. I do want to take this time to thank everyone across the internet for sending me all your kind words and condolences and supportive words during this situation. It was very heartwarming. It definitely helped. I did talk to a few people to, as I went through this, and that definitely helped in some way. I just want to thank everyone who supported me, and that is something to think about too. So again, my heart goes out to all the people have been victims of the coronavirus, those who lost their loved ones, who never got to see them again, unceremoniously. They all deserve so much better than this virus. I would have loved to see my dad as an old man myself, despite of the things he's done in the past, like I said, it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine. He deserves still so much better than this. He was in the worst possible circumstance when it came to the coronavirus. He was in a nursery home full of people with doctors and nurses, away from, family. And that was that. On New Year's Eve of all times. So every New Year's Eve from now on will be a time to remember him. Definitely, all the good times. And to remind myself to keep going. To keep going until I satisfy myself. And even if I do, I find new stuff to satisfy myself with. And that's pretty much that. So, I know I've said this already, but I just want to thank everyone who've stuck with me, supported me, sent me all the condolences, and just kind words in general. I cannot thank you all enough for that. So again, I'm back for the most part. This channel will resume as always, as it were. There might be one video coming out for this week. I did record a little something for Cyberpunk to kind of hold people over, and funny enough, as I said, I did take a break, quote unquote. I in the background was writing stuff for the top best games of 2020 for myself, my personal list for 2020. Also the worst games of 2020 for myself, my personal list for that as well. And I've written out my review for Cyberpunk 2077 and all that stuff. So videos are coming. My passion is definitely coming back. It was there. It just definitely was held back by my depression and stuff like that, the hard times. But writing scripts and ideas, notes, all that stuff definitely helped me got through a lot of that too. I can't help it, man. I make videos. That's what I do. And I think my dad would have done the same thing if he was able to. Write music, play the guitar, I believe that's how he got through the hard times when he was younger. So I'll definitely miss him. I'll definitely miss my dad. If it wasn't for him, I would not be here. I would not have experienced the love, passion, friendship. Everything I've experienced was thanks to him and my mom, And that, as I think about it, it is still sad to, to think about all that stuff. But it is time to move forward. So, well, of course, with that said, there will be times where, I may want to take a break because of this. Like I said, this feeling won't go away no matter how long I wait. So the longer I wait, the more that passion will ache, and that will not be a good thing for me in a way too. But hey, this feeling may catch up to me from time to time, and when that does, I will take my break. I'll let you guys know. Probably a week or whatever. Who knows? Take some time off here and there, if that is necessary. But it's been a tough time, regardless. So, anyways, that's all I have for this video, and it is time to get things going again for 2021. I hope to see that this will be a start of getting things back in order, but we're still well within the battles of the pandemic, and so I wholeheartedly hope that everyone is safe and stays safe with their families and loved ones. This will be something to look back on. This is something, hopefully, that'll make us stronger and smarter. That's also very important. For a very long time. Moving forward, hopefully, we'll be better in due time. But, of course, this ain't magic. It's not all gonna happen all at once. This will take time, patience, and due diligence, I guess. We gotta do our part. We gotta keep active and just do our part for the sake of others. Say what you will about the virus. It might not be deadly for you, but this preys on the ones who are less fortunate with their health. So take that into consideration. So, anyways, that's definitely all I have. Starting definitely next week will be videos popping up. Definitely. I can't say when exactly, but of course but yeah, next week will definitely be the official time for things to go back to normal, quote unquote. And it'll be good to be back. I want to be making videos, and I think my dad would understand that. So, anyways, I want to say again, thank you so much for all the kind words and supportive comments, all your condolences. Thank you so much for that. And so, I hope to see you guys soon. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Sean out.